The Senate tax bill is likely to undo the health insurance mandate. Republicans have never liked the mandate.
Senator Ron Johnson, why is this coming up in the tax bill, and shouldn't this be a requirement for health insurance?
Well, you know who really dislikes that individual mandate? Low to middle income Americans. Over 80% of the individuals paying that penalty, I guess it's a tax, have income below 50% or $50,000. It's about 45% have income below $25,000. CBO is starting to take a look at that, and any impact the individual mandate had in terms of encouraging people to sign up for health insurance has long passed. It's just dissipated. So now all you have is you're just penalizing low-income Americans. It's time to end that individual.
But if they never had insurance in the first place, why would they be penalized for not signing up for something that now they have access to?
Ask President Obama.
No, but I don't understand when you say that low-income people are saying that they're upset about paying a mandate. If they never had access to health care before, they now have access to it.
They can't afford insurance now because the faulty architecture of Obamacare has driven pricing in the individual market double and triple what it used to be, and they've been completely priced out of the market, so they can't afford it. And then on top of that, icing on the cake, now they have to pay a penalty to the federal government. So no, it's time to end the individual mandate.
All right, but they're saying by eliminating a mandate, you will also then force prices up for those who are still in the market and need the health insurance by eliminating the mandate.
Well, again, that is the faulty architecture of Obamacare. The solution to that would have been, again, and the solution will be Graham, Cassidy, Heller, Johnson, where we start block granting the health care funding to the states, allow governors and state legislators to start use those dollars flexibly, and don't do the stupid things that we're doing on these individual markets right now that have artificially driven up prices double and triple. I mean, think of it. 4 years ago, premiums were a third to half the levels we are right now. That wasn't the marketplace that did that. That was Obamacare's faulty architecture.
Do you believe that every American should have access to health care?
Yeah, we all want everybody to have access to affordable and quality health care as well, and Obamacare is not affordable.
Okay, so I know you represent the Republican Party right now at this table.
I represent myself.
Why has it taken 8 years not to figure out some way to actually repeal and replace Obamacare? Tried twice and it hasn't worked. So what have you guys been doing for 8 years while the structure was in place to say that it didn't work and not have anything to replace it with?
Well, first of all, you have to, when you finally have the levers of government under your control, you have to take a look at the current situation. The current situation is a big mess. Okay. And even within our party, we have a broad spectrum of really what we need to do. But again, I was primarily focusing on, I think this would have been better messaging, as well as directed our efforts, repairing the damage done by Obamacare, transitioning to something that actually works. That really is more free market, consumer-driven free market competition. But again, focus on the damage done. That's primarily in the individual market, where Obamacare's faulty architecture forced a very small slice of the American population, people that are having, by the way, pay for health care with after-tax dollars, which is a really grossly unfair thing, but to bear the full burden, the full cost burden of covering people with high cost and pre-existing conditions. It didn't have to be that way. We had a high-risk pool. With a few tweaks, that would have worked. Maine has an invisible high-risk pool. With guaranteed issue, when they instituted that invisible high-risk pool, literally premiums were decreased to a third to half the level where they were prior to that. So there are solutions here. Again, it's enormously frustrating to me that we weren't able to enact those types of solutions in the last year.
It is a big issue. Let me talk about another big issue here. Roy Moore, the Senate race. Tuesday, voters in Alabama will decide if he should be a senator. Should he?
Well, first of all, I thought Roy Moore should have withdrawn from the race weeks ago.
Should have?
And he should have. And he should have let the voters of Alabama to elect a Republican senator that can stay in the Senate. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. If Roy Moore is elected,
will you recognize him as a senator?
We'll have to. There's a Supreme Court ruling that says we'll have to seat him. But immediately an ethics investigation will be undertaken. At some point in time, I'll probably have to act as a basic juror in deciding whether or not he stays in the Senate or not. I don't know why he'd want to drag himself, and even worse, those women who are having to relive their experiences, why he'd drag them through that process. But I guess that was his decision.
When you ran for the Senate, you knew what happened when the party is either, well, the party was always with you. The Senate Republicans weren't always with you. But are you embarrassed and surprised that the Republican Party now is back supporting him because the president is supporting him?
Again, I've really no connection with the RNC in terms of their decision to do so.
But
I wouldn't have done it. The NRSC, the senatorial committee, is staying out of that race.
Senator Franken had to resign from office because of the allegations against him. Was that fair or unfair?
That was his decision. I respect that decision. It was really a decision of his caucus, the Democratic caucus.
Were you
caucus in the
surprised,
Senate. No, I wasn't surprised. It is a tragedy that this type of sexual behavior is so prevalent in our society. I hate to see it. On the other hand, I really am grateful for those women to have the courage to come forward, and these men are being held accountable. Now, I've got 2 daughters. Men have got to understand how this reprehensible behavior can affect women long term. The damage doesn't necessarily go away. And so I'm glad that it's being highlighted. I hope men really pay attention. I hope they change their behavior.
Senator, we appreciate your time. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Coming up, Democrats were a no-go on the tax cuts. Why? We'll get their take on what this means for the middle class.